Hi, my name's Kailey. This is a really gentle yoga practice for muscle tension. So if you're feeling a little bit of muscle stiffness or tension for any reason whatsoever, this practice is designed to help address that a little bit. When you're ready, you can meet me in something comfortable, whether you have a mat or not, doesn't really matter. You can meet me on the ground in a seat, ideally with your left leg forward. So we'll start with the left leg forward and then we'll switch at one point so that everything gets a turn, everything can be a little closer toward balance. Take a moment at the beginning of this practice to just check in. Instead of trying to let anything go, and see if you can let yourself become even 10% more present with this moment. And that might mean that you notice the space that you're in from a visual lens. It might mean closing your eyes and tuning into any sounds around you. And maybe most helpful would be just noticing any sensations that are present in the body. And take just a couple deep breaths and see if you can feel the rib cage expand as your lungs fill with your inhale. And then let the chest and the ribs soften as you exhale. And take two more deep breaths like that. You might even bring your hands around and reach for the ribs so you can feel that tactile experience of the rib cage expanding. Deep, long breath in. And then letting the rib cage recoil as you exhale. Take one more breath like that. And you can blink the eyes open. Bring your left hand down outside of your left leg. You can close the eyes at any point through this practice. It's a helpful way to kind of cue to the nervous system that it's okay to relax a little bit. Inhale your right arm up and overhead. So find a stretch across the chest here. As you exhale, right hand comes back down, bringing it down all the way toward the left fingers, or maybe reaching for your left elbow or bicep. Round the back of it here, tuck the chin in toward the chest. Nothing forced, but hug your navel in toward your back body. So front body's pulling to back body. Inhale, lift the chest, lift the lift the right arm up and open. And then exhale, bring that arm back down. Move through those two shapes here with your breath. Couple things that can be really helpful if you're experiencing muscle tension or stiffness. One is to slow everything way down. See if you can get yourself to go slower than you think you need to. You're really curious about those little nitty-gritty sensations in the body. See if you can move really smooth through these two shapes. If you're feeling anything funky in your top arm, instead of reaching it up, go ahead and reach it out. Keep the elbow softly bent. See if that gives you a little bit more relief. Couple more. Keep moving with your breath here. So slowing down is one thing that we can do to help support the body and relaxing some of that muscle tension. And then changing the range of motion, maybe taking a smaller range of motion is another. Last time, reach your right arm up or out. And then this time, bring that right hand over the top of the head. So right forearm comes to the top of the head. Kind of bringing the fingertips toward the left ear. Goodness, it's one of those days, right and left. And then super gently lengthen out the spine with the chest, and then use that hand really gently, not really applying any pressure with your right hand, but just kind of a little bit of extra weight there for the head. Not pushing, but just relaxing the weight of the right hand onto your head. Keep Keep your left arm relaxed. Maybe even bring that hand to the lap if that feels helpful. Big deep breath in. Nice long exhale here. Use your right hand, bring it to the right side of your head, and then lift the head up through center. Take a breath, releasing the right arm, and then sweep the hands back behind you. Untangle your legs, bend the knees, and then tiny little windshield wiper motion with the knees here. So start with a small range of motion and see how fine-tuned you can make this. Really control this movement. So we're not using momentum, but we're also not stiff, not rigid through the muscles here. Finding that sweet stability combined with some ease. Hook the back of your knees with your hands and then slowly slide yourself down, keeping the knees bent. Bring the feet together. Bring the arms into a cactus shape here, and then same tiny little movement with the knees. Feet stay together. You might let the knees separate about hips distance. Little self-massage for the low back. Continue to take those deep breaths in through the nose. Long exhales through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels most natural. Pause at the bottom of the exhale just for a moment, and then take a breath in, breath out. Pause at the bottom of the exhale, and then resume normal breathing here, just looking for a slightly longer out breath than in breath. Keep working those windshield wipers with your knees, but start to separate the feet wider. So think about maybe mat's distance if you are on a mat, or just imagining that. So a little bit more range of motion perhaps this way. We're going to drop the knees all the way over to the right. So knees will point to the right. You can stay absolutely as you are right here, or bring that left foot up toward the left hip. Use your left hand to help. We'll get a little quad stretch, maybe tucking the left foot so that the toes are pointing back behind you. Hang out here about 5 cycles of breath. Without getting too attached to it or without efforting too hard, see if you can create just a little bit longer exhale. One of the ways that I like to do that is by holding at the bottom of that out breath before you take another in breath. Take just about one more long breath here, and softening through the hips, the low back, the pelvis. And then slowly roll just a little bit to the right so that you can release that left leg. You might keep the knee bent, but you're going to hook the back of the left knee with the right hand and bring that knee to the right. Maybe, I'm too close to the wall here, maybe you stretch the left leg out to the right. If you stretch the left leg out to the right, relax through that left foot. Left arm's maybe in a cactus shape or a T. If it feels good, you can nod the chin toward the left shoulder. And soften across the forehead. Relax the eyes. And unclench, let go any tension around the mouth and the jaw. And come back to that breath. So Q1, that full inhale, exhale, hold at the bottom of the exhale. And when you're ready, breathe in again. Without a pause, exhale. And pause at the end of the out breath. And then keep going like that. If that feels too fussy, just breathe naturally. This trunk rotation, really nice for a little bit of vagus nerve kind of regulation. Finding that twist through the spine, through the hips. And bring your head back through center. If you nodded your chin to the left, take a breath in. And then we're gonna keep rolling, over to the right. Slow, slow, slow. Be extra patient with your body. Work your way to your hands and your knees. So there's zero rushing. If we're working on letting go of muscle tension, we're not moving in a way that's creating more stiffness. We're also not moving with a boatload of momentum. The momentum sometimes can trigger the body to feel like it needs to protect those joints from over movement. So shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. Go ahead and take a couple circles with the shoulders over the wrists. So the arms stay pretty much straight. Find some space in the lower back here. Notice if you're swaying through the low back, and a little bit of space through the back of the pelvis. Switch the direction of those circles. And then go ahead and work your way back to your heels, just as a transition. Work your way to a seat, this time with the right leg in front of the left, so finding that cross leg position. So we're gonna go through that whole little sequence on the other side. Take it slow. Play with the range of motion that feels good in the body. So right hand outside of the right leg. Inhale the left arm either up overhead or out to the side. Exhale, bring that hand back down, chin toward the chest, draw the navel in. So find a stretch along the sides of the spine. Inhale out and maybe up. Exhale down, flexing, curling the spine, drawing the navel in. And then just keep moving between those two stretches. Soften or even close the eyes down. Really allow yourself to play with the speed, so actually play with the slowness. And take a couple more like this, finding some rotation through the rib cage. And then the next time that left arm is up and out, we'll do that little neck stretch. So take the left arm up and then overhead. Left forearm comes to the top of the head, left hand comes toward the right ear. Slide the right hand in a little bit and then nod your left ear toward your left shoulder. Notice where the chin is, if it's pointing up here, pointing down. Just do what feels most productive. You might kind of tilt it up and down and find that sweet spot. Take a breath in. Long breath out, little pause at the bottom. Maybe you feel that right shoulder release, some of the muscles in the right side of the neck. And then use your left hand, slowly bring that head back up through neutral. Right hands come back behind you again. We'll come right onto the back this time with the knees bent. So use the fingers if you want behind the knees. Just being real gentle with the body. It's a great way to kind of communicate that it's safe for the body to release muscle tension is to be really gentle. Not to hold everything super still, but to move very mindfully. Same little windshield wiper motions with the knees. Separate the feet wide. The hands can come to the torso. That feels kind of like nurturing and nourishing to me, or you can bring the arms out into that goalpost shape. Let the knees fall all the way over to the left. You can stay right here or tuck that right heel up toward the right hip and use the right hand for some help. We're going to create more of a quad stretch that way. Absolutely everything is optional. And do what's going to benefit your body the most. Sometimes that means taking the quad stretch, sometimes that means hanging out in that twist. And let the eyes soften or maybe even close down. Relax through the shoulders. You might even tuck them underneath the body a bit. Take a couple more long breaths here. See if you can feel the belly and the rib cage expand on the inhale, like you're filling up a balloon. Not filling it up so much that it will pop, but allowing for that diaphragm to move with the breath. Let's take one more breath here. 3-part inhale. Let the belly fill. The chest expand and maybe even the collarbones lift up. And then 3-part exhale. Let the collarbones soften. The chest relax. And the belly empty. Roll just a little bit to the left so that you can release that right knee. Catch the crook of the knee with the left hand. Right arm can come to a cactus or a T. That right knee might stay bent, or if it feels good, extend that leg. My foot looks really big there on that screen. It is quite big actually. Extend the right leg out to the left so you feel into that lateral edge of the right hip. The chin might point straight up if that feels good in the neck, or play around with nodding your chin towards your right shoulder. Come back to that 3-part breath, inhaling belly, chest, collarbones. Exhaling collarbones, chest, belly. And gently bring the head back through neutral. Take a breath in. Bring that right leg back through center. Knees bent, feet underneath knees. Last little bit here before Shavasana. Bring the arms into a goalpost shape, but with the forearms perpendicular to the floor. And then let the palms press down and let the palms lift up. So rotating through the shoulder here. The hands aren't likely to touch the floor unless you're forcing it. So really kind of a small range of motion. Let the back of the head stay down and the hips stay down. If this feels like this is fine for right now, keep working that, or let's try alternating. So as one hand comes up, the other goes down. Sometimes there's a little bit more range of motion available when we're not like bilaterally asking the back and the shoulders to do the same thing. So just noticing. Maybe it's the same exact range of motion in both cases. All right, keep the forearms perpendicular to the floor, but rotate the palms so they're facing each other. Shimmy the shoulders underneath you. Take a breath in, so arch the spine a bit, lift the chest. And then as you exhale, round the back, maybe the tailbone tucks a little bit. Reach your hands across your body for your opposite shoulder. Give yourself a little hug. Inhale, bring the elbows back down, puff the chest up,
tiny bit of spinal extension, so it's not a huge range of motion. And then exhale, give yourself another hug. So just moving between these two shapes a few times. Little supine cat-cow. And kind of bringing a little bit of stretch into some of the connective tissue in the back of the ribs. There's a lot of fascia back there that can get pretty tight because the rib cage doesn't have a boatload of mobility. The thoracic spine doesn't have as much mobility as the neck and the low back. And so we're kind of isolating that thoracic spine here. You're still moving through the lower back of the pelvis, but there's a lot more happening in the mid-back this way too. Last one, take a big breath in, and then reach around, give your shoulders a little squeeze. One leg at a time here, stretch the legs out on the mat, away from the lower back, feet pretty wide. And then one arm at a time, bring the arms down by the side. Shrug the shoulders underneath you a bit. And take a moment as you settle into Shavasana here. If you're still feeling a lot of muscular tension, I've got one more little option here. You're gonna make fists with the hands. And then imagine that you're making fists with your feet. So curl the toes in toward the soles of the feet. You might even squeeze the glutes and push the hips down. So create some tension, create some muscular tension in the body here. Really squeeze through the fists, squeeze through the feet. Take a big long inhale through your nose. And then as you exhale, open your mouth, relax the hands and the feet. We'll stay here in Shavasana for about 20 or 30 seconds. Let the body grow heavy. Imagine those patches of muscular tension just melting through your body down into the ground or the surface that you're practicing on. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana longer, go ahead and do so. Big, huge encouragement for that. If you're ready to move on, you can start to make some small and slow circles with the wrists and the ankles. Play with that range of motion. If it feels good to increase that range of motion, you might get a little crackle or a pop. And slide the feet down underneath the knees. Take the big breath as you reach the arms back over your head. And then exhale, work your way onto your side and up to a seat. Again, be patient with the body. See if you can keep that slower pace going. Maybe even keep the eyes closed down, meeting me in a seat. And bring the hands to the heart. One last big deep breath here. Open your mouth and offer it up. Huge thank you for taking some time out to take care of your body. Keep moving mindfully, deliberately, and yeah, I hope that you feel well.